Hello. Tonight I will share with you the story of the first brothers in human history, Cain and Abel, from Genesis chapter 4. This is a sorrowful story that reveals the choices humans make, the consequences that follow, and the grace and warnings that God has given. Lie down comfortably and immerse yourself in this biblical story. The first family in the world was formed. After being cast out of the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve began their life on the earth and had their first child. When Eve gave birth to a son, she said, "With the help of the Lord I have brought forth a man," and she named him Cain. The name Cain means to acquire or to obtain. Sometime later, Eve gave birth to a second son and named him Abel. As the two brothers grew, they followed different paths. Cain became a farmer who cultivated the land, while Abel became a shepherd who tended sheep. Though they had different occupations, they lived together as one family. As time passed, the two brothers grew up and came to offer sacrifices to God. This was an important part of their faith and worship. Abel brought the firstborn of his flock and their fat portions. He offered the best, the finest of what he had to God. Cain, on the other hand, brought some of the fruits of the soil from his harvest. However, his offering was not accepted as Abel's was. God was pleased with Abel's offering, but he did not look with favor on Cain's offering. This was not merely a matter of the quality of the offerings. The Bible focuses more on Cain's heart and inner motives. Abel offered his sacrifice with faith and sincerity, giving his very best to God. But Cain's offering was given out of formality without true devotion. Cain was filled with anger at God's response. His face showed jealousy and rage. Then God spoke to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." These words reveal the inner struggle between good and evil within human nature. Sin is always waiting to enter our hearts, but we must rule over it. God gave Cain a choice. He urged him to overcome his anger and jealousy and choose what is right. But Cain did not listen to God's words. His jealousy and anger toward Abel grew stronger. The fact that God did not accept his offering but was pleased with Abel's offering was unbearable for Cain. One day Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let's go out to the field." Abel followed his brother into the field. There, while they were talking, Cain suddenly attacked his brother and killed him. This was the first murder recorded in the Bible, a moment that showed how deeply sin had taken root in humanity. Then God asked Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" But Cain answered with a lie, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Instead of admitting his sin, Cain spoke defiantly to God. Cain tried to hide his sin, but God knew everything. Abel's blood cried out to God from the ground. God rebuked Cain and pronounced judgment upon him. "What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now the earth has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. Therefore, you are cursed from the ground. When you work the soil, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth." Cain lamented, saying that his punishment was too great to bear. "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." Cain was cast out from the presence of God and became a wanderer. He was afraid, knowing that his sin might bring vengeance upon him from others. But God did not abandon Cain completely. God placed a mark on Cain and declared, "Whoever kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over." Even as he judged Cain, God also protected him. This scene reveals both God's justice and his mercy. Cain left the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. There Cain met his wife, and she bore him a son named Enoch. Cain built a city and named it after his son, Enoch. As time passed, Cain's descendants multiplied. They developed various skills and arts, yet the shadow of murder still loomed over them. Among Cain's descendants was a man named Lamech. He followed in Cain's footsteps, committing even greater sins. Lamech took 2 wives and lived a life of violence, boasting arrogantly, "If Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times." Lamech's words revealed how sin was growing deeper and deeper. People were moving further away from God and walking in wickedness. But even amidst humanity's sinfulness, God provided hope. Adam and Eve had another son, and they named him Seth. Eve said, "God has granted me another child in place of Abel, whom Cain killed." The descendants of Seth began to seek God again and live in reverence to him. Thus, Genesis 4 tells the story of the first murder in human history and its aftermath. This story goes beyond a simple conflict between brothers. It reveals the dangers of jealousy, anger, and envy within the human heart. It also shows both God's justice and mercy, as well as his love for humanity. There may be times in our lives when we, like Cain, are consumed by jealousy and anger. But what truly matters is how we choose to control and overcome those emotions. This story reminds us that we must strive to follow God's will in our lives. There is always hope and an opportunity to make the right choices. I hope tonight's story has brought peace to your heart. Have a good night.